Hey everyone, this video is going to be about, can you guess? D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. I play Dungeons and Dragons. If my eye looks weird or looks red, it's because I poked it with something earlier. I don't know when, I don't know what I poked it with, but I know that it hurts and it looks red, so excuse that. Anyway, Dungeons and Dragons is a game that's played with die, and it's a fantasy role-playing game, which means you have to be a very visual, imaginative person. It takes a lot of imagination to play this game for it to be fun. I'm going to read you a little bit of information from Wikipedia starting now. The game was originally designed by Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson, and it was first published in 1974 by TRS Tactical Studies Rule Incorporated, and it's become very popular since. End of that. Yes, minimize. Okay, sorry. Now, I'm going to just run you through some of the basics of D&D and why I like it. Now, what you want to do if you're going to start D&D is you're going to have to get some die. This is a traditional and basic D&D starter deck. It comes with all the dice that you will need to start with. You will need to accumulate more die, and you can either buy a whole bunch of sets like this, or you can buy a bunch of sets of little ones, or you can just kind of collect random die as you find them. Now, this is a D6. This is a traditional die, 6-sided, and this is often what you would use for characters and for summons. If you have an animal companion, or you have, and you want everything to look different, so you need to have lots of different colored die, lots of different styles of die, and lots of different sizes to differentiate things. Because what happens is everybody lays their die out on a board. It's a grid paper board that's on a table, and that shows where you are, and each grid mark is 10 feet. Traditionally, I do believe. And then your character can move 10 feet, 20 feet, or says how far they move, and blah, blah, blah. So, you want everything to be different. So this is a little die compared to a traditional size D6. That's what you call it. You'll learn. There you go. Or you can have really, really big die for particular big characters or big summons, because that becomes important. Saved it. There are some weird people in the world who believe that you can't let other people touch your dice, or they can't let other people touch their dice because it will cause them to roll low. I don't think so. I think you just roll what you're going to roll by chance. That's why you use die. Anyway, the other 6 die, and you originally get 7, so you get a D6, and then you get your very important D20. You will need a D20 no matter what your character is. This is all of your spot checks. This is all of your recognitions. This is your everything, your hits, blah, blah, blah. You get this. If you get a nat 1, which means you just roll your D20 and you get a 1, automatic fail. No matter what your rank is for your particular item, automatic fail. If you get a D20, if you get a nat 20, which means you naturally rolled a 20, automatic success. Usually. That usually doesn't stray very far. Now, there are different things that you need. If you are going to use potions, you're going to need these 3 die. If you're going to be making potions or using magic, casting spells, or doing summons, you're going to need these 3 dice. So this is a D100. This is a D10. And then I have no idea what this is called. I call it the pyramid die. I know there's a special name for it. It only has 4 sides. I just don't know how to use it because I don't use magic. And then there's your D8 and your D12. Now, you don't need your D12 unless you're going to be doing summons as well, but there's a couple other situations where you would use it, but that would be as a need-to-go basis. And then for special character alignments and, not alignments, abilities, you would use your D8. This is my 8-sided die. It's very cute. I like my fancy gold and blue coloring. It's very nice. You can buy them, and they will come in a, even if you go to like a store or anything, it'll come like this. The other thing that you need, you'll need to fill out a character sheet. So you'll find your Dungeon Master, which is the guy who's going to lead the game along. The Dungeon Master is somebody who usually knows a lot about the game. They're very much a veteran. They are the characters that are not being played. So in your group of people, anything that you run into, any gnomes, any enemies, any shopkeepers, all that stuff will be played out by your Dungeon Master, who keeps the story rolling along. Now, if your Dungeon Master doesn't like you, your character could die really quickly. So get somebody who's cool. Okay? Yeah. Alright, your Dungeon Master and you will run through making character sheets. Now, they do have new character sheets. These are the old ones. But my Dungeon Master knows that I need space. So we have a good understanding of each other. Now, you would start out with all the basics of your character, your name, your alignment, which means if you're neutral evil, it's what your character would react to. That helps you with deities and gods and things like that. Mine is an atheist. My character is an atheist. My character's name is Andrew. He's a human of race. He's a male, because I've been using the male pronoun. And he's a level 10 scout. And his alignment is neutral evil. So he typically stays out of stuff unless he really wants to get people into problems. I get 4 attack bonuses. My base attack is 7-2. And I have 81 hit points maximum, which is pretty high. I rolled some really high numbers for that. And then you have all these other little fortitudes and strengths. That helps you when it comes to your ranks. You would write down everything that you carry with you and everything that you wear. And you would also note any languages that your character would speak. This is all my Dungeon Master says that there's other ways you can do that, but he just let me choose. He said you're going to speak common, and then you just choose 3 other ones that you want to speak. So I have Sylvan, Draconic, and Abyssal, and that becomes important as you play the game. When you run into certain characters or when you go into certain areas of your game, you might have, characters might not be understood unless they speak that particular language. The skills that I'll just list all the skills you could possibly have, and I'll try to do this quick. Appraise, I don't know what that means. I think it means if you're able to realize the value of something before everyone else does, even though it might not look like it's something special. I think that's what appraise is, but I'm not entirely sure. Auto-hypnosis. Now, if you will look very carefully at this, anything that has that little gray square at the end, those are skills that you can have untrained. The other ones you have to get training in. Let's see. Here we go. Balance, bluff, climb, concentration, craft, which means you can make stuff. There are 3 crafts. Decipher script, you can read scripts. Diplomacy, disable device, disguise, escape artist, forgery, gather information, handle animal, heal, hide, intimidate, jump. Knowledge of arcana, knowledge of engineering, knowledge of engineering, knowledge of dungeoneering, knowledge of geography, knowledge of history, knowledge of local, knowledge of nature, knowledge of nobility / royalty, knowledge of the plains, knowledge of psionics, and knowledge of religion. Those all become important when you start going into like clerical areas and places like that. Listen, move silently, open log, perform, act, perform comedy, perform dance, perform keyboard, perform oratory, which is speeches, perform percussion, perform string instrument, perform wind instruments, perform sing, perform whatever you want, profession, whatever you want, profession, whatever you need. Sidecraft, ride, search, sense motive, sleight of hand, spellcraft, spot, survival, swim, tumble, the magic device, the psionic device, and use rope. Now, this is my first time playing D&D, so for what I wanted for my character, which is an archer, my dungeon master went through and marked all the things he felt were important for me to have. And he said I could choose the other ones if I wanted to, and I think I may have. But I don't quite know. And then you can get different additions with synergies and knowledge that you gain along the way. So you would fill one of those out. And for me, I recommend this if you're not good at math, because this is a math game. You have to do a lot of addition really quickly. What I did was I went through and said the minimum I would need, like this is the level of a monster. This is the maximum number of hit points I would need to roll to be able to have a hit. And then I have, if I ever get other character points, which you will, I mark down what I wanted to increase. And I use the rest for basic math. So I carry this with me all the time. Another thing you want to keep track of is you want to hold on to any papers your dungeon master gives you. So my dungeon master is not the most official dungeon master, but he gave me stuff like this is a map that only I have. I'm not going to show you because one of my friends who plays with me, who doesn't need to be seeing my map, watches my channel. So, but you can run across stuff like that. You roll to be able to recognize stuff, and it becomes really exciting. It's kind of hard to talk about it because it's hard to imagine because it just sounds boring if you just talk about it. When you're actually doing it, it's really exciting. So I just wanted to introduce you to the world of Dungeons and Dragons a little bit. It's a very basic and very poor introduction, I'm sure. But I hope you all enjoyed anyways, and if you have any more questions or if you want to just talk about D&D, then message me or video response or comment, or you could just, I guess you could stalk me and talk about it, but that might creep me out a little bit. Anyway, night owl.